Alright, welcome thee to once again thy review of Friday the 13th, the series, season 1, episode 20 in this case, Quilt of Hathor, The Awakening. The first time I think so far in this series, there's been a 2-part episode.
Pretty fun.
Yeah, I can't remember what I said regarding the first half. I don't think I was too crazy about it. I can't remember because the one word we couldn't remember,
The society.
the society in this 2-part episode is basically a renamed version of
The Amish.
Amish folk. So
Amish folks.
that's what these 2 episodes entail. So the last one was this cliffhanger with Ryan, or they thought they had, or Mickey and
Mickey thought she had the quilt, and Ryan decided to stay for love.
at the very end of the last episode, they found out they didn't have the actual quilt of death. It was a copy. So maybe you're probably better suited to even explain this episode, because honestly I was just kind of laying here like a blob. So maybe if you explain a little bit, it'll remind me. So the plot of this second half of the episode is,
Well, Mickey and Jack know that the real quilt is still in this society, so they're trying their best to get to Ryan to save him or whatever. Um, and Ryan ends up talking to the main priest, head honcho.
well, that's the guy who's tried to take a wife like 2 or 3 times,
Yeah,
and the
and
wife keeps dying
because the plain Jane keeps killing him in her sleep. And there's been questioning about his strength as a leader. So an inquisitor is coming to investigate the strength of this community. So there's a little spin there. Ryan is pretty set in his betrothal to this hot chick that is born and raised in this community. And Ryan ends up talking to the head priest, saying that there actually is witchcraft, devil worshipping going on, and it's in the form of a quilt.
I should probably mention that I think are a lot of people in this town kind of blaming Ryan, pointing the finger
Oh yeah,
at
they're
Ryan
blaming
because
the outsider.
this stuff didn't start happening until by the name of thy Ryan got this heareth.
Yeah. So yeah, and true.
And
The
then
murders didn't start until Ryan and Mickey started investigating and trying to find this quilt. So they were right that the murders didn't really start until Ryan arrived, but it wasn't Ryan doing the killing, but they were trying to form like a lynch mob and get rid of the current leader to find new leadership, and just a bunch of hooey going on.
when they brought that kind of accusation to Ryan, I think I remember him saying, well, the guy saying, I think it's witchcraft, and Ryan's like, yeah, exactly, it is. It's
It
this.
is witchcraft.
But it's not me. It's this quilt, and I can't remember at that point if he. I think he tells the head honcho what's
That
going
Effie
on.
Stokes, this
Yeah.
plain Jane, has it, and
The plain Jane's got it, and this is what
if
she's
you want your woman
doing.
to stop dying, you should, investigate her. Well, instead of investigating her, the head honcho during dinner announces, I've had trouble finding a wife and keeping her because they keep dying on me. So I've chosen, for the sake of the community and for the sake of my heart, a wife and a new betrothal. And Effie's sitting on the other side of the table like nothing's going on. And he's like, Effie Stokes to be my new betrothal, my new bride.
And
she
has said yes already, and
we got married in a secret.
last night.
No, this afternoon they got married.
Oh,
Probably
whenever.
after he talked to Ryan, they got married.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how they would have gotten married without a witness, no one else knowing what's going on. But they had a secret wedding before God, and now they're all husband and wife.
But this guy did it just to test Ryan's theory,
to test
correct?
Ryan's theory to
So
see.
what was really funny, and this is actually kind of maybe halfway through this episode where it actually kind of started to get interesting. This might have been the first time in the whole both episodes where it was kind of like, well, don't get me wrong, like I guess the whole, in both episodes it's got the people, or this woman, this plain Jane woman using the quilt and killing people in their dreams. Those scenes are fun, but this scene for me was really kind of fun, where it was like a battle of the, this woman wants to go to bed. We're under the impression this is the first. Go ahead.
We missed the murder.
There's three kills in this episode.
Yeah, we missed 3 kills, but we missed the first one. The first one was, I guess, this other plain Jane kind of woman is peeking in on Effie Stokes and goes to Ryan and says she's the one that's got the quilt, and Effie takes a little nap. And this is kind of the fun part, because normally it all happens at night. So now we find out that the person that has the quilt, as soon as they fall asleep, the person they're dreaming about is pulled into a sleep as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the person who saw Effie Stokes with the quilt in the dream, she gets poked in the eyes with this poker.
Which causes the woman
in her reality dream to literally pull her eyes out with her hand, so you see her eyeball in her hand, and it's kind of cool. Sorry, that's a little twisted.
That is a little twisted. So back to what I was saying on the wedding night of this head honcho and the plain Jane chick, it's kind of like, she's all ready to bed down and consummate the relationship.
And he won't even touch her.
And he won't touch her. And what's really funny is like she puts the quilt on like both of them on the bed, to go to bed. And so what's really funny about this,
and she's like, oh, it's to ensure your sleep. So
what's really great about this is she doesn't know he knows about this quilt. So she figures going to bed with it on both of them won't be an issue, because she doesn't know that he knows about it. So they both go to bed. Same thing. She starts to it's really kind of funny. They're dancing in the dream. She's got a knife took out of the pig and holding it. They're going in circles like Titanic, holding the knife behind his back, and then all of a sudden it's like she thinks she's got the upper hand, and then it like zaps to outdoors at night, and it's like, uh-oh.
And the guy took over the dream.
He took over the dream,
and it was kind of back and forth.
Oh, so it was a battle in the dream because they're both sleeping under the quilt. So that was cool.
That was cool. And he ends up taking her and breaking her back.
Oh, in the dream, right.
In the dream.
Oh.
And in her version of the dream, it's a dip that breaks her back. But in his version of the dream, he literally just folds her in half. It's kind of funny.
And then he wakes up and she's
like dead
on the bed with her back broken, and he wraps the body up and puts it in under the house in the horse stable or some crap.
The woodshed.
Woodshed, horse stable.
Yeah, the woodshed underneath the house.
Okay. What proceeds to happen then is we find out that I guess this kind of using the quilt turns the user evil, and maybe.
Oh man, he can lie.
So now
like
this guy who was quote unquote innocent and good, I think up until this point, gets evil because he's using the quilt.
Even just after one use, as soon as the quilt kills someone for the dreamer's benefit, I think they're pretty much possessed by it. And he runs out to Ryan and says, "I had the quilt; it was in my hand." And then Effie, learned that I wanted the quilt to give to you, and she ran off with the quilt, and I don't know where she is, and the quilt's gone. And
so halfway through this episode, this guy kind of becomes the bad guy, which is an interesting twist. He kills the bad woman and becomes the bad guy.
Right. And because he's under such strain to keep his power, he takes another nap and ends up killing the investigator. And during that death, Ryan kind of figures out who actually has the quilt, because he was kind of compelled to believe him that Effie ran away and the quilt is gone, and he was kind of all like, oh shit, now what do we do? And then when the Inquisitor died, Ryan's like, oh, the head honcho's got the quilt. We got to fix this. And so, want to continue? Do you remember the
What,
end?
well, did you? Yeah, I mean, he goes to the head honcho and just in time to see. Oh, the head honcho gets attacked by a dream, falls asleep and gets
Ryan's
attacked.
trying to wake him up.
And he goes into the place or the building where the head honcho is, only to see him like do. He's trying to wake him up, and he grabbed a knife, and he's like asleep, and then he ends up doing like Harry Carry on himself. Which, and anyone who doesn't know what that is, he's stabbing himself in the chest with the knife, falls down dead. Of course, other people, villagers, come in and see Ryan holding
Ryan
the
over
knife.
the body,
So then
holding the
he's
knife.
accused of being the killer of this guy, and he's going to be burned at the stake. And then I guess the Mercedes
Pulls up, and here out comes Mickey and Jack. Old guy and female partner.
I can't remember. How it's. He's on the stake. They let the fire, and I can't remember how
the
it's
daughter.
revealed. But how does the daughter know? I forgot.
The daughter believes that of Ryan's innocence.
Oh, she went down into the woodshed thing under the house and found
the quilt.
The quilt that his wife had made for the guy who turned evil when he started using the quilt.
Their wedding quilt.
So that it was full of blood. That's what he wrapped the previous
Plain
bad
Jane.
woman up in. So that's a proof that. I mean, only he has access to that quilt. It's got blood on it, and plus the bodies
and she's not strong enough to carry the body, but she can bring back the quilt as evidence.
And she said, "Well, go look in the woodshed for more of the evidence for thy heinous acts." And then it's
so while everyone's looking under the woodshed, the main honcho guy is disappearing, and they're like, "Oh, he's got the quilt." So they're trying to chase him.
Oh yeah, he rides off like a bat out of hell on the horse to try to go get the quilt and take a nap and
we
kill
don't even know where this
Ryan. Yeah, it seems like a chase that goes from night into morning into day. It's like, well, this frickin' village probably isn't very big. I thought that was kind of weird, but anyway.
Unless they burn people off property, I don't know.
What's really funny is the guy gets the quilt and wraps himself up and tries to go to sleep, and Ryan gets up there to get him just like right in time.
Fighting asleep.
And he rips it out of his hand. It's kind of a battle, and the bad guy ends up falling out the window.
Hence the awakening.
Oh yeah, that's right. And what I told Beth that was really goofy is like the guy lands like 30 feet away from the building, falling out of the window.
They were doing tug of war, so when he does the final tug, he kind of pushes himself out the window, propels out the window. So, yeah.
So that's the conclusion to the 2-part episode of Friday the 13th, the series.
Sadly, Ryan goes back to the antique
store.
store.
Yeah. The big frickin' drama is the ongoing love affair between Ryan and this, as Beth called her, hot chick, I think.
Hot chick in the Amish community.
And
Pennatites.
Obviously, we knew that, she was going to stay, he was going to go. We knew that.
Well, I thought she was going to die and he was going to leave. But the father died. But in her father's death, she becomes the new head honcho because, I guess, blood overrides anything else.
So all's well that... Sorry, now what?
So now she's the leader of the pack, and her betrothal thinks he has, her back, and she won't even give him the time of day. But, so Ryan falls asleep. He's all tired.
Oh, at the very, very end. He goes into Curious Goods, falls dead asleep on the chair. Oh.
Mickey puts a quilt over him to keep him warm. Not the devil quilt. That's in the safe. And then at the very end, Ryan wakes up with the start with his eyes open.
And freeze frame, end of episode.
So we don't know what he was dreaming.
It was just a little bit of whatever. Yes, so once again, we went over 13 minutes. What you gonna do? Well, what would your thumbage be for this episode?
My thumbage would be a solid thumbs up because it was a good follow through, and the storyline had a nice twist and turn to it. I liked it.
My thumbage is gonna be like, slanted, kind of like, the 10, 11 on the clock kind of a situation.
So 3/4.
Yeah, 3/4 thumb, because it's just like I said. I think I said this on the first half, I mean, it's just hard for me to watch everyone, see all the fake beards stuck onto these faces and listen to this kind of
Yeah.
goofy speak and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, that's my thoughts about it.
I liked it. It was a good follow
Oh,
through.
one thing I do want to say though, I wonder. I asked Beth through this. I'm like, I wonder where they did film it because it does look like a
Real
real
snow.
Amish. Well, it's real snow, and what's cool is I mentioned this in several of the episodes recently. Is it looks like there's real snow happening throughout the episodes when real genuine snow falling. But that's really cool. But I would ask her, I wonder where they filmed this because it looks like a real Amish place. But then I'm like, well, I wouldn't think the Amish would let anyone film a movie or TV show.
Maybe it's
So anyway, the location I will say is really kind of cool and all that Amish stuff and this or that or whatever. But
the
that's
Penatites.
the Penatites. Okay, it sounds like some kind of alien. But if you're done with this episode, I guess
I liked it.
I'm done. Two-part episode. The next one we have to look forward to is Double Exposure. Is that going to be some kind of evil camera?
Ooh. I'm
What's your
thinking
guess?
a two-way mirror or
Some
maybe
kind
a
of
camera.
old antique camera.
An antique camera sounds good, or looking glass. Those are my two guesses.
Well, very cool. That'll be our guess for the next upcoming episode, which we hope to review for you next week, I guess.
Yeah. As the weeks go by, the episodes continue. Thanks for listening. Have a good night or day.
Thanks, everyone. Catch you next time.